I tried this in 1998 and it ruined 4 of my work shirts. Chalky white streaks down the front of every one of them. Wouldn't wash out. I'd read the recipe in a magazine at a laundromat, felt clever about it for about a week, and then spent the next month explaining to people why I looked like I'd been leaning against a freshly painted wall. So when somebody tells me you can make a year of laundry detergent for $15, I don't get excited, I get suspicious. But the recipe going around now isn't the one I used, and the difference between them turns out to be the whole ballgame. Let's find out. 25 years in maintenance means 25 years of destroying clothes. Boiler soot, hydraulic fluid, that black grease that lives on the underside of everything and transfers to your sleeve the second you reach past it. I've never once gotten through a work shirt's natural lifespan. They die of stains, which means I bought a lot of detergent, probably more than most people. And somewhere around the 5th or 6th time I stood in that aisle looking at a $12 jug that would be empty in 6 weeks, I did the arithmetic. 300 loads a year in an average house, 25 cents a load if you buy the regular stuff. $75 every year for soapy water in a plastic bottle, and the jug is mostly water. You're paying freight on water. All right, here's what's actually in the recipe and why it isn't the one that wrecked my shirts. 3 things: castile soap, washing soda, borax. The castile soap does the actual cleaning. It's the surfactant, which is the stuff that grabs onto dirt and lets water carry it off. Washing soda is sodium carbonate, same box I used to clear that kitchen drain, and here it softens hard water and goes after grease. Borax handles odor and brightening. Now here's the part that matters. My 1998 recipe used a bar of Fels naphtha grated up. Fels naphtha is a fine soap, but it does not fully dissolve. Those chalky streaks on my shirts were undissolved soap particles that got pressed into the fabric and dried there. Castile soap dissolves completely. Same idea, different soap. And that single swap is why this version works and mine didn't. 27 years to find out my problem was the ingredient list and not the concept. The making of it is almost boring. I grated 1 bar of Castile soap on the same cheese grater I use for cheese, which took 4 minutes and made my knuckles regret it. Dumped the shreds into 4 cups of water on the stove, medium-low, stirred until it went from shreds to a thin, milky liquid. It never boiled, and it shouldn't. Took about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I filled a 5-gallon bucket halfway with hot tap water. In went the melted soap, a cup of washing soda, a cup of borax. I stirred it with a paint stick for 2 minutes, topped the bucket off with cold water, stirred again, put the lid on, and went to bed. The kitchen smelled like soap, just soap. No perfume, no chemical bite. I hadn't realized how much I'd gotten used to detergent smelling like a candle store until the smell wasn't there. Next morning, I pried the lid off and the whole bucket had set into a thick white gel. Consistency of pudding that's been in the fridge too long. Stirred it up, scooped out half a cup, and now came the part one actually cared about. I don't trust a recipe that only gets tested on clean towels, so I took 4 white rags and ruined them on purpose. Coffee on the first, grass on the second, ground in with my boot. Bacon grease on the third, and the fourth I wiped down my own neck and arms with after mowing the lawn in July, which is about as honest a sweat stain as you can manufacture. 2 loads, identical machine settings, identical water temperature, identical rags, 1 washed with Tide. 1 washed with the bucket. Tide came out about how you'd expect. Grass gone, grease gone, sweat gone, the coffee left a faint shadow if you held it to the window at the right angle. Then the homemade load. Grass gone, sweat gone, grease gone, and if I'm being careful about it, gone a little more completely than the Tide rag. That tracks. Washing soda is aggressive on fats, which is exactly why it clears a drain full of bacon grease. Coffee left the same faint shadow. I laid the 2 rags side by side on the counter and I could not tell you which was which. Still can't. I marked them with a pen so I'd stop mixing them up. I ran that comparison 4 more times over the following month. Jeans, bed sheets, gym clothes, which are their own category of problem. Towels. Every time it landed in the same place, even or close enough that the difference would be noise. One thing did throw me at first: almost no suds. You pour it in, the machine runs, and the window stays clear. Felt wrong. It isn't. Suds don't clean anything. Foam is a thing the detergent industry engineered on purpose because people see bubbles and believe work is happening. Your high-efficiency machine actually asks for low suds detergent in the manual. This stuff is naturally low suds, which means it rinses out with less water and doesn't leave residue in the drum. Two things to know before you go buy a bucket. The gel separates. Give it a couple weeks and you'll open the lid to find a layer of liquid sitting on top of the solids. Looks like it went bad. It didn't. Stir it for 10 seconds and it comes right back. And if your water is genuinely hard, the kind that leaves scale on your faucets, add an extra half cup of washing soda to the batch. Hard water fights soap of any kind, homemade or otherwise. The money. Castile soap, $4. Washing soda, $4.50. Borax, $5.50. $14 at the register. But you only use 1 cup each of the soda and the borax per batch, and those boxes hold more than a dozen cups apiece. So that $14 doesn't make one bucket. It makes bucket after bucket right through the year. Comes out around 5 cents a load against a quarter at the store. 300 loads, $60 saved on something that took 20 minutes of actual work. Walter's verdict, 5 wrenches out of 5. I went into this expecting to hand out 2, maybe 3, and write it off as a nice idea that doesn't survive a real stain. It survived every stain I threw at it. It matched a national brand in a side-by-side I designed specifically to make it fail. 5 cents a load. 3 ingredients you can pronounce. And I want to say the quiet part. The reason this works isn't that somebody invented something clever. It's that soap has been a solved problem since the 1800s, and we've spent the last 70 years paying for the bottle, the fragrance, and the commercial. Nothing in that bucket is new. It's just nobody's selling it to you. If you've got a bar of castile soap in the house, you're already halfway there. And if you've been burned by one of these recipes before like I was, check what soap it's calling for. That's where it went wrong for me. Tell me what to put on the bench next. Comments are open.